Participants, now we will be learning about the state of municipal water supply and sewage network in India. Starting from 1980s, the coverage of water supply and sanitation facilities in India has improved significantly. Various government schemes implemented at the national, state and community levels brought rapid change in the drinking water supply and sanitation. According to 2011 census, 65.5 million Indians from 13.9 million households lived in the slums. It was 5.4% of total population and 17.4% of the urban population. Among them, 74% household had access to tap water, 20.3% fetched water from hand pumps or tube wells, 3% sourced water from dug wells. Interestingly, 56.7% of slum households having a source of drinking water within the slum premises. Around 31.9% of these households have source of water within 100 meters from the premises. In 2011, only 66% of urban slums households had a toilet facility within the premise, whereas the rest used public facilities or defecated in open. Once it comes to the sewage system, only 36.9% of households were connected to closed drainage, 44.3% were linked to open drainage, and the remaining have no drainage connectivity. According to the World Bank, in 2018, 35.2% of the urban population lived in the slum. Having access to water in premise is one issue. Bigger issue is the quality of drinking water. While in 2001, 68.7% of households in India had access to safe drinking water, in 2011 it increased to 70.6%. According to the census of 2011, around 89% of India's urban households had access to improved source of drinking water. Around 62% received a supply of treated tap water, whereas 8.6% consumed untreated tap water. Rest were dependent on hand pumps, tube wells or covered duct wells for day-to-day requirements. As of 2019, 92.7% of Indian households had access to primary water sources, whereas 99.3% had access to basic sanitation. Census 2011 data suggests that due to community level connections, slum households have better access to tap water than the non-slum population. Due to the lack of notification or regularization by the governments, many interested slum households could not apply for piped water connection. Despite all these efforts, currently only two Indian cities, Trivandrum and Kota, have a continuous water supply. Let us deliberate on the initiative for improving the urban infrastructure in water supply sector and sanitation. Since 2014, current government had taken several initiatives to improve the supply and quality of drinking water and sanitation coverage both in the rural and urban areas. Some of these schemes brought a sea change in coverage and attitude of people. Taking a defining step, the Swachh Bharat Mission Urban was launched on October 2, 2014, with an aim of making urban India free from open defecation and achieve 100% scientific management of municipal solid waste in over 4,000 statutory towns in the country. Under this mission, in last 5 years, 62.3 lakh household level toilet, 5.95 lakh community and public toilets are constructed to improve the sanitation facilities. Another initiative in this direction is Smart City. The objective of this scheme is to promote sustainable and inclusive cities that provide core infrastructure including adequate water and sanitation and offer a decent quality of life to its citizens, sustainable, clean and application of smart solutions. Atal Mission for Regeneration and Urban Transformation or AMRUT is aimed to provide basic services such as water supply, sewage and urban transport to household, basic services such as water supply, sewage and urban transport to households and build amenities in the cities which will improve the quality of life for all, particularly the poor and disadvantaged. Through this scheme, government wants to ensure that every urban household has access to a tap water with assured supply of potable water and sewage connection. Whereas Swachh Sarvekshan scheme is aimed to inculcate competition among urban areas for enhancing the performance of cities on sanitation and cleanliness. National policy on fecal sludge and septage management is aimed to set the context, priorities and direction for and to facilitate nationwide implementation of these services in urban local bodies for ensuring safe and sustainable sanitation for every household, street, town and city. Jal Jeevan Mission is another key initiative. By year 2019, only 30.1 million out of 190 million rural and peri-urban households had access to tap water. Therefore, a key focus of this socially inclusive mission is Har Ghar Nal Se Jal initiative, under which piped drinking water will be supplied to almost 160 million rural and peripheral households in India by year 2024. Government has embarked 3.5 trillion rupees for Jal Jeevan Mission. This program also aims to implement source sustainability measures as mandatory elements such as recharge and reuse through grey water management, water conservation, rainwater harvesting. Despite all these efforts, the water supply and sanitation network in India faces several challenges. Having an illegal and unmetered connection is a common practice in all parts and slum areas of most of the Indian cities. Besides, due to the lack of pressure, insufficient and irregular supplies, it is a common practice to use pumps. Use of too many pumps during non-supply hours create a vacuum in the pipelines. It results in breakage of the supply pipe and dirty water from nearby sewage pipe may seep through and contaminate the entire supply. Over half of the cost of municipal water supply network goes into the creating and maintaining the municipal water distribution network. Damaging of the pipelines during construction activities and road widening and repairs is also a frequent issue in India. In most of the cases, water boards and water supply companies do not have adequate resource to extend the network and regularly change the pipes, completing their lifelines. Unplanned urbanization aggravates the problem further. Another concern is that most of the cities do not provide the quantum of water according to existing per capita norms. Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs had suggested 135 litre per capita water as a benchmark for urban population. However, most of the city dwellers, particularly from slums, receive less than 50% of it. Wastage of potable water during transportation from water treatment plants to the household is also a serious problem and result in 20 to 50% losses of treated water. In most cases, the cost of household municipal water supply in India is too low to recover the pricing, and even urban local bodies find it hard to recover the transportation and treatment cost. It not only limits the capacity of urban local bodies in investing to the infrastructure construction, but also promotes misuse of water. Let's summarize this lecture. One of the key concerns in the urban areas is growing gap between demand and supply of basic services. Particularly, the gap between demand and supply of drinking water and sanitation facility is growing. Despite all previous efforts, these gaps further widened. Goal of health for all cannot be achieved without ensuring drinking water supply and sanitation facilities. The government is committed to provide drinking water to every settlement in the country within next 5 years. The government has also decided to go all out to achieve the goal of expansion and improvement of sanitation facility along with other social infrastructure. With current mission mode initiatives and consistent efforts, it might be possible to bridge the gap in access and services in next 5 to 10 years. The goal of uninterrupted pipe water is in the cities is a big challenge due to high infrastructure investment needs and depleting water resources. The situation is exacerbated by a rapid increase of population, unwise use of water resources, and an alarming rise in pollution levels in surface water bodies and in groundwater. Besides, municipal water supplies quality and volume vary greatly depending upon the availability of water resources, the tax base of municipal bodies, support from state and central governments, and pricing and extent of payment by the users. Therefore, the policy responses need to provide for improved public health outcomes via universal access and improved service quality while facing the challenge of increasing severe water and resource constraint on one hand and limited institutional and financial capacities on other hand. I hope that this lecture provided you an insight into the various aspects of municipal water supply and sanitation. Thanks.